On this episode of O'Fallon Matters, follow O'Fallon's Parks crews as they prep for the fall soccer season. Then, meet O'Fallon's new canine, Loki. Also, find out about an organization that reduces trauma for child abuse survivors. All this and more next on O'Fallon Matters. City of O'Fallon codes reduce potential hazards, eliminating the threat of poorly designed or executed plans. Next on O'Fallon Matters, we'll learn about a city division tasked with the planning and implementation of the city's adopted building codes and ordinances.
The building division performs plan reviews along with inspections on new residential and commercial properties. Inspectors are checking out new home construction, and you'll find them at all new developments in the city. This team has the important task of ensuring every building in our community is up to snuff.
The biggest overall mission is to protect life safety, health, and welfare of every occupant and every visitor to the city of O'Fallon. It's imperative that we have safe buildings, safe decks, safe schools, safe stores.
You're kind of acting as a first preventer, that you're preventing fires or disasters from natural disasters, or helping reduce the risk with the buildings that people are in.
The building and permits team provides residents with superior customer service, all while mitigating the risks of fatal flaws that could harm the inhabitants of a building.
So my team consists of one commercial inspector, 3 residential inspectors, a residential plan reviewer, a commercial plan reviewer / deputy building official, as well as a permit technician. And those people are fantastic. I couldn't say more about them, how hard they work for the city, how hard they work for me, the great customer service they provide. They're just rock stars in the industry.
We're always growing here in the O, and each new building that goes up requires the attention of the building and permits team, not to mention the thousands of codes that our team must keep up with.
For example, the residential code alone, which just dictates single family and multifamily, is about 1,100 pages. And so you can imagine the amount of complexity in that code. It dictates where every nail needs to be, where every wire needs to be, everything you can think of. And the hard part about it is those codes change every 3 years. So we have to learn the new codes every 3 years. So it is a constant learning process. We constantly require continuing education. We provide in-house training as well as ICC provided training.
O'Fallon's Building and Permit Division makes a difference. Every building in the city has been touched by their outstanding skill and thorough knowledge.
I really like the fact that I get to see a business submit plans to me, and you see, what it looks like on paper, and down the road you're driving on Highway K and you're like, oh wow, look, there's the business that we started in our office. Seeing
a building come from footings and foundations all the way up to doing the final inspections on the building and observing, and it's just fun to be a part of that team and to look at a structure once it's completed and say, yeah, I was a part of that. It wasn't necessarily me totally, but being a part of it.
I think it's important that you do come through the building department to build anything, whether it's a deck, a basement, a home. That way it is being built the safest way possible, and it keeps the value up on your home. It keeps the subdivision looking nice, the city looking nice if things are built properly.
And ultimately that reflects on the accolades that the city receives. It's a well-built community.
After a long run protecting our city, O'Fallon canine cop Odin has hung up his collar. Now a new dog has picked up his old beat, Canine Loki. Let's see just how good a boy he is.
Get him out of there. My last dog, by the end of it, I felt like he was more of like my brother than he was a dog. And this dog is more like my son than he is a dog. You develop this crazy relationship because I spend more time with this dog than I do with my wife. You know, I'm spending 3-4 hours a day training with him and spending time with him. So naturally, when you spend that much time with something, anything, you develop an extremely strong bond.
Loki's a phenomenal dog. He is our first Dutch Shepherd / Malinois breed. He is a combination of both of those breeds together. He is very, very high energy, as you can tell, and his personality fits very well with Officer Frickovic. Officer Frickovic has a very, very high drive, very, very motivated, and the two together are a formidable force that's unstoppable.
So he's a dual purpose. So he's trained in narcotics detection, and then he's also trained for tracking, building searches, evidence searches, handler protection. So all of the patrol side of things, anything that you would see us out running around in a neighborhood doing, he's doing really well. And I've had to like adapt my training style to a different dog. He just learned so much differently than my past dog. So with Odin, I took him from another handler. So I never really got the opportunity to pick my own dog, name my own dog, spend a bunch of time with him at school and bond with him without any other influence in his life, and I wanted to experience that. So, you know, Odin I love him, you know, he saved my life, but this dog being brand new and being mine, just mine, it is a different feeling for sure.
Matt is my senior handler, and his knowledge is expanding and growing, and with that, not only does he put that focus and effort into Loki and any dog he has, but he gives that back to our canine unit and to the road. And his experience, knowledge, and training is fantastic, and it will continue to grow here. And I look for a very rewarding career for him in the future.
Honestly, it's something that has always intrigued me from a little kid. I've always had big dogs, and I've always loved dogs. I love being around dogs. And then I started here, and I noticed that our program was above and beyond most other places. I've seen the control that our guys had over their dogs, and how well the dogs worked on the road and how useful they were. So once I seen all that, I'm like, man, I got to be part of that.
We would like to think we're the best, but we're also very humble. And it's important to us to be the best in what we do because, number one, our city deserves the best. They deserve the best in their police force. They deserve to have the best officers available. They deserve to have the best community interaction. On the canine side of things, we want to strive to be the best in everything we do because when we give commands for the dog to do what he's supposed to do, we want to be absolutely 100% certain at any point in time that dog is going to do what he's told when he's told to do it. And by being the best, we can assure that that's going to happen.
Honestly, this dog was bred for police work. Through and through, this dog is a police dog. He wouldn't live without work. He's picked up on things very, very well. He's social. People can come up to him, they can pet him. It's an important trait that we specifically look for whenever we get a dog. You know, we let kids pet the dogs and other humans pet the dogs, and this isn't just a dog that goes out and does work. It's also a dog that interacts with the public and, you know, influences young kids' lives, and that's something that we really, really enjoy. At the end of the day, people are like, well, it's just a dog. This isn't just a dog. When I'm scared and I'm anxious and I'm going to do something that's very, very high risk, well, this is my buddy that's always with me. There are a lot of long nights where it's just me and him sitting in the car or you know, sitting on something that's going on that I'm gonna use him on. Develop this weird sense of like communication. The longer you're around this dog, the more he turns out like you, and the more human characteristics I start to notice in them. I think everybody kind of gets in law enforcement with a sense of, I want to do something more than myself. And I feel like that is what God has always called me to do, is be bigger and better than myself and to protect people. And I was really young when I got into law enforcement. I was 21 years old, and this city took a chance on me. I'm here 10 years later, and this city has given me so much. It's given me the opportunity to really grow and mature as a person. It's also given me the opportunity to handle 2 dogs, and I'm forever grateful for that. So when I go out onto the road and I put myself out there, I'm trying to return that favor to the citizens. I'm trying to give them the best service that I could possibly give them. And I know him, being the working dog that he is, I'm sure he's grateful to a city that took him on and said, yeah, we're gonna let you work, because all he wants to do is work. So I don't think that this dog he wouldn't function as a just normal house dog. This runs deep in his blood, so I'm sure he's extremely thankful for the city, giving him the opportunity to come out there and work and catch bad guys and, you know, interact with the citizens in the community. And as a police officer in O'Fallon, you really do become part of the community. You know, this isn't just a 9 to 5. This is something that you live and breathe and is more than just you. You just want to work, don't you? You just want to work.
Since opening its doors in 2000, the Child Advocacy Center has been on the front line responding to reports of child abuse. Now, find out how they protect children, heal families, and prevent abuse.
Did you know that nearly 700,000 children are abused in the U.S. each year? And that's why the Child Advocacy Center of Northeast Missouri exists. They allow children to share their experiences of abuse or neglect in a child-friendly and non-threatening environment. Children and their well-being are the #1 priority at the Child Advocacy Center.
So before Child Advocacy Centers, children were interviewed at police interrogation rooms. They were interviewed in the very bed or household that the victimization happened on. They were interviewed in child welfare or child protection offices where kids get taken away. And our goal is to reduce all of those outside factors and create an environment like you see here today to make them feel comfortable and at home. And we know when kids feel comfortable, we can get reliable information as long as we're asking that in the right way.
Our mission statement is to reduce the trauma to children that are disclosing about abuse. And we do that by using a multidisciplinary team when we're interviewing that child, so they only have to disclose of that event one time.
That is the hope of all of this, and that it's a safe place for them. We have MDT members that work with us as a team, so they're not talking to a person over here, a person over there, and numerous people. They're just talking to one specific person, which is the forensic interviewer.
It's always the goal to ensure that children discussing abuse are not further victimized by the intervention systems designed to protect them. In 2001 alone, 1,224 children received forensic interviews.
We see anything from physical abuse to sexual abuse. We also interview witnesses of domestic violence or witnesses to any crime, whether it be sexual abuse or physical abuse. So we do interview witnesses and victims.
We are the place where children come to give their statement for all those entities that do have to investigate to determine if that child was in fact a victim, and if we are going to move forward with criminal charges, a prosecution, and also if they will be having a finding of child abuse or neglect through the state of Missouri. Last year we saw 600 cases of child abuse and neglect or children witnessing a crime in St. Charles County, and 108 of those cases were worked by O'Fallon Police Department. We have a tremendous working relationship, and so that's important.
Besides forensic interviews, the Child Advocacy Center also offers other life-changing programs.
We also provide prevention education out into the community. We do parent programs, we do body safety, we do internet safety, all kinds of educational components out in the community. We do mandated reporter training. Anybody that's working with youth in any capacity should be going through this training. And then we also offer therapy, mental health therapy for kids that have come through and have disclosed about abuse, so they can start that healing process.
Over 43,000 children received prevention education in 2021, and funding for these programs comes from many different sources.
A lot of grants that we write, both federal and local grants, anything that we can do to help sustain our services that we have. And then obviously we are funded, and a huge need comes from our private and individual and corporate donors. No child who walks through our door, nor their parents, for any of the services are ever charged a fee. So forensic interviews, no cost. Advocacy, no cost. Our mental health therapy, no cost to them.
If you are in need of help or would like to find out more information on the Child Advocacy Center, please visit www.cacnemo.org.
During the spring soccer season, our fields take a beating. COR Parks crews get the fields back in shape just in time for the fall soccer season.
Getting our soccer fields ready for the fall season is no small task. It takes weeks of prepping to get them back in tip-top shape. Overseeing this project is Brian Kraft, Parks crew leader for Sports Park.
This time of the year, we are in our summer maintenance program. We just came out of a successful spring soccer session where we had very few rainouts, which I think the O'Fallon residents probably appreciate. And now we are on our summer, we're going into our summer break where we are doing our maintenance program. By prepping our fields with our summer maintenance program, we're doing our aerifications right now, which includes our top dressing our fields, and then we're also preparing for our sprigging. We are sprigging this year with iron cutter, which is a new hybrid species of Bermuda, and I believe O'Fallon residents and our O'Fallon athletics will appreciate the new species this year, the new hybrid species. It's a new thicker variety. Our usual variety of Bermuda grows more horizontal and it's more of a creeping Bermuda grass, whereas this one is a denser, more carpet-like variety, which improves the playability, and more of a cushioned variety, which will improve the playability of the soccer fields for all of our athletics. It is important to do all this preparation for our fall session to improve the playability of our fields. We want to promote our fields as top-tier fields in O'Fallon and bring back the premier parks in O'Fallon and promote O'Fallon parks as premier and some of the best soccer fields in the O'Fallon area and the St. Louis region. My background comes from a little bit of a golf course industry, so we kind of go as regimented as we can. We treat our fields just like the fairways and the greens, so if you see us politely asking you to vacate the fields when we're working on them, we're not trying to be rude, it's just we're trying to promote these fields to be premier as possible and trying to keep our athletics and our athletes as safe as possible. If you are looking for green space, Dames Park is open this summer and this fall. It is under our summer maintenance program, but just not as extensively as our sports park location. We have one field at Sports Park that's open, that is number 12, that's the closest to Highway K. So you will see many bodies and many pieces of equipment moving around daily, and most likely the fields will not look the greatest, but I do promise come mid-August they will look top tier and green as possible and ready to go.
Thanks for joining us today. If you have a good story idea, please let us know. Email us at OFallonTV@ofallon.mo.us. And remember that O'Fallon matters to all of us.